All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going on a global expedition across the Earth's natural systems to figure out what biomes actually are and, why they matter so much. If you've ever wondered why certain plants and animals absolutely thrive in one part of the world but just completely vanish in another, well, you're in the right place. Today, we're unpacking the invisible rules that govern our natural world.
Here's our quick itinerary for today. We'll start with a welcome to Earth's biomes, then look at how climate shapes the land, followed by a quick tour of global biomes. After that, we'll do 2 deep dives, first into the grasslands of the Pampas and then the rainforests of the Congo Basin. Finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with a Biome Explorer review quiz.
Okay, Section 1. Welcome to Earth's biomes. Let's get our foundational vocabulary packed before we travel the globe.
So, what exactly is a biome? Basically, we're talking about very large areas in the world that share similar vegetation, climate, and animal life. The really crucial point here is that these aren't just small local parks. No, biomes are massive, interconnected systems spanning the entire globe. Whether it's a sprawling, wide-open grassland or a super dense forest, a biome is defined by the specific types of life that have literally adapted to survive in that particular climate. And it's wild when you look at it on a global scale, because similar biomes pop up across completely different continents. For example, notice how the dark green of the rainforest just hugs the equator, stretching right across South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Or look at how the yellow desert regions stretch all the way across North Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Australia. Even though they're separated by vast oceans, shared climates create shared biomes. It's like a giant puzzle.
Moving on to Section 2, how climate shapes the land, because climate is really the ultimate architect of our natural environments. Let's break down the 3 crucial climate factors that act as the blueprints for literally every biome on Earth. First up, latitude, which is your distance from the equator. The closer you are to that 0-degree line, the hotter it gets. Second, we have distance from the sea, also known as the Maritime Effect. Oceans have a massive regulatory impact. They cool the nearby land down in the summer and warm it up in the winter. And finally, altitude, or height above sea level. The higher up you go, the cooler it gets. Honestly, that's exactly why you can find snow-capped mountain peaks right near the sweltering equator.
All right, Section 3, a tour of global biomes. Let's see how these climate rules actually play out side by side. When we compare major biomes like the desert, grassland, tundra, and rainforest, we can clearly see how extreme climate differences create everything from barren, icy tundras in northern Russia to dense, wet rainforests in the Congo Basin. Just look at the extremes. Deserts, like the Sahara, get very little rainfall and suffer these wild, extreme temperature shifts. In total contrast, tundras are so freezing that they have a permanent layer of frost right under the ground called permafrost. Then you have grasslands, like the Pampas, which have distinct wet and dry seasons, perfect for supporting huge grazing animals. And of course, rainforests, like the Amazon, are hot and wet year-round, just bursting with a crazy variety of plants and animals.
Now for Section 4, grasslands, specifically the South American Pampas. Let's touch down for our first deep dive.
So, orienting ourselves to the Pampas. This is a massive, massive region covering parts of Argentina, Uruguay, and just a sliver of Brazil. Now, the absolutely defining feature here is a distinct lack of trees. And you might be wondering, why? Well, it's because the Pampas is shaped by regular natural fires. Trees really struggle to take root there, but the native grasses are highly adapted. They grow back incredibly quickly after a blaze, which creates this permanent, beautiful, wide-open landscape.
But there is a pretty stark contrast between the historical land use and modern demands here. For centuries, this land was managed by the Gaucho, the traditional South American cowboy. They ran cattle across the plains, which is what made Argentina beef world famous. But recently, global economics have driven a massive shift toward large-scale, intense industrial soy farming. And while that's highly profitable, this intense modern method is drawing a lot of criticism. It's actively harming local biodiversity and really depleting that unique soil.
Okay, let's pack our bags for Section 5, rainforest, specifically Africa's Congo Basin. This is often described as the world's second lung.
Deep in the heart of Africa, the biodiversity is just stunning. This lush basin spans multiple countries, including Cameroon, Gabon, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is home to majestic, endangered elephants, and incredibly, new species are still being found here, like the Lesala monkey, which was discovered as recently as 2007.
Following only the Amazon in size, this massive forest canopy pulls vast quantities of carbon out of the atmosphere, which makes it an absolutely vital system for our global climate.
However, protecting this vital ecosystem is, well, it's incredibly complex. We have to look at the severe threats it's facing. Trees are regularly cleared for timber and to make way for exploitative mining operations, extracting valuable minerals, often using underpaid labor. And the new roads built for these industries? They inadvertently open the door right up for poachers targeting elephants. Add to that the tragic regional border conflicts, and you can see how geopolitical instability makes establishing any sort of sustainable conservation incredibly difficult.
All right, Section 6, the Biome Explorer Review Quiz. Time to see what you've learned on our Explainer expedition today.
First question. Which climate factor explains why locations on the exact same latitude have completely different climates if one is close to the ocean? Think back to our 3 architectural blueprints of climate. See if you can recall the specific term for the ocean's unique cooling and warming influence.
Got it? That's right, it's the Maritime Effect, or distance from the sea. This just reinforces how water drastically regulates nearby land temperatures. It's exactly why coastal cities usually avoid the extreme boiling summers and freezing winters that are felt by cities located way far inland on the exact same latitude line.
Okay, question 2. Name the modern human agricultural activity currently harming biodiversity in the South American Pampas. Let's test your memory on our first case study here. What specific economic shift replaced the traditional gauchos and their cattle?
If you said large-scale industrial soy farming, you nailed it. The rise of this massive soy farming brings in great profits, for sure, but it comes at a steep environmental cost to the soils. It's a perfect example of how global economic demands can physically reshape a local biome.
Finally, question 3 isn't really a quiz question, but something to think about. How do your daily choices in your local community impact the sustainability of these distant, interconnected global biomes? As we wrap up this explainer, just consider how our local actions ripple out into these massive, vulnerable systems. The soy in your pantry, or the precious metals inside the very device you're watching this on right now, those materials connect your daily life directly to the Pampas and the Congo Basin. So the ultimate question is, now that you know the invisible rules connecting our global biomes, how will that change the way you interact with the world tomorrow?